Okay, one of the most important skills that you need to learn. Can you hear me? Microphone working? All right. One of the most important skills you need to learn is to be able to do problems that have lots of steps. So it's okay with me if you don't write the original problem down because it's long. But I want you to do the first step in your head and then write down what you get. So in other words, you don't have to write the original problem, but maybe you should go, that times that would make negative 6x. That times that would make what? And then just write out on your iPad or in your notes, wherever you're taking notes. Do the first step, and then take the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And in the ideal world, it takes you at least 4 steps, and then you get your answer. The point is, we want you to be able to handle problems that have lots of parts. When you get to pre-calc, problems will take an entire page. Not every problem, but we want to get you better about being able to handle lots of steps. None of the individual steps are that hard, but of course that one has to get distributed too. So does that one. All right, I'm behind you now, but I'm gonna slowly start catching up. Next, I gotta put things together that are alike. Like this and this can go together. That makes 6x. And that go together plus 4. Okay, that was the first step. It's called combining like terms. This next step, what do I got to do? A lot of kids subtract 4 and they're wrong. It actually could work, but there's a smarter thing to do first. What? You want to get rid of the smaller x. And so yes, we're going to get rid of the 5x. If I subtract 5x from both sides, 6x minus 5x will be x plus 4 equals 5x minus 5x is gone. And it's negative 20. And then from there, it's really simple. Now I subtract 4. And x equals negative 24. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, awesome. So then it's just about making sure that you take your time and show your steps. All right? If you got rid of the 4 first, it would not be wrong. It's just, I know from experience that if you don't get rid of the x's right away, a lot of times the more complicated equations get really confusing. So when you're at this moment, you should not move numbers around. You should just get rid of the smaller x. Because otherwise, you don't know which number to get rid of. You don't know whether to get rid of the 20 or the 4. Because you don't know which side the x is going to be on when you're done. You know what I mean? So that's why you should really do the x's first. You should really get rid of one of these guys first. All right. I want you to just do one more like that. Sorry. There we go. Again, don't have to write the original problem. Just do it from the first step on. I'm going to hit pause while you finish that. Okay, I'm going to go fast now. So, first of all, negative 10x. Oh, my sound is terrible today. Minus 5 plus 10x plus 4 equals 3x minus 6. And then this and this will cancel, right? So then right? Okay, so then it's just negative 1 equals 3x minus 6. That was a really easy one. Add 6 to both sides. Then you got 5 equals 3x. Now what? 5 by 3, so x equals 5/3. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Excellent. Now, some kids think that they have to say that that's 1 2/3. You do not. Here's why. Let's say that this was an equation like 4x minus 5/3 y. That's okay. That's proper form. But if you say 1 2/3 y, then that's not in proper form anymore. So it's actually better to leave your answer like this than it is to try to simplify it to like 1 2/3. All right. So, moving on. Find 4 plus f of 3 when f of x is that. Well, in this kind, you just want to find f of 3 first? And then what? When you're done finding f of 3, you're going to do what? Add 3, or add 4, sorry. So f of 3, you stick in a 3 there, and that'd be 9 minus 4, which would be 5. So that's 5. Then it's just 4 plus 5, and that makes 9. All right. This one, I want you to do. Show me some steps. First thing I would do if I were you is figure out f2. How are you not writing? Some of you are not writing. Actually, just figure out f of 2. Go like this. F of 2 would be 4 times 2 plus 5. And I know you want to do it in your head, but you need to, the point here right now is showing off your steps. So then you'd say f of 2 is 8 plus 5, and f of 2 is 8 and 5 makes 13. And kind of the point when we're doing this show off your steps thing is like show every single step you possibly can. So far I've showed every step I could, except now what do I really want? I wanted 6 plus f of 2, right? And the f of 2 is really what? So 6 plus 13, so my final answer would be 19. Raise your hand if you had 19 for your answer. Okay, good. All right. This one is trickier, though. Don't even try it yet. I want you to just listen for a second. Before, if I had told you like f of 3, you'd just stick the 3 in here, right? But now they want you to do f of x plus 7. What that means is whatever's here is what you put in and replace the x with. Let's back out for a second and say, what if it was just like f of x equals 2x minus 10, and I said, what's f of a? That was on the quiz, remember that? You just drop the a in for where the x is. So it's just leave an empty spot where the x is, and then drop in what? A. So when they ask you to do f of x plus 9 or whatever, all they're asking you to do is rewrite the function out with an empty spot for the x. This is going to get much more complicated, so just trust me that it's worth doing it the way I'm saying. Leave an empty spot for the x, and then just drop this in there. So you put in x plus 9 there. And could you multiply that all out? Sure you could. You go 2 times the x is 2x, 2 times the 9 is 18, and then this minus 10 is at the end. It's not being times by the 2, it's just minus 10. So then it's 2x, and then the 18 and the 10 put together would make 2x plus 8. Raise your hand if you had it right. In your head? Okay, good. Now I want you to try this real one. Drop the x plus 7 into the empty spot where you put the x. Remember, x is an empty spot. So this right here is just an empty spot. You can put in anything you want in that empty spot. Okay, for Pete's sakes, for a guy who likes to sleep, it's PJ day. How could you not know that? You're supposed you were too sleepy this morning. Okay. My mom used to be really good at sleeping. She could sleep anywhere, anytime. And it was kind of funny until she fell asleep behind the wheel of the car. And she crossed over 3 lanes of traffic and got to the edge of the road, and like I think it had one of those little things on the edge of the road that like wakes you up. You know what I'm talking about? Where like on the road it might kind of makes a noise. That woke her up, and she pulled it, pulled out of it, was okay. And she realized that was very scary, and then she went in and got checked, and she had that deal where you aren't sleeping well at night because you stop breathing part way. Sleep apnea, that's it. So she'd stop breathing, and so people that have sleep apnea, if you watch them sleep, they'll be breathing, and all of a sudden they'll stop breathing, and you can just like count And like normally you just start breathing again right away, right? If you're a sleep apnea person, you might stop breathing for like a minute and a half. Like you haven't taken a breath for a minute and a half. And yeah, people have died from it before. It's more likely that you just don't get very good sleep because all of a sudden after a minute and a half, you'd be like, you take this big breath, okay, and then it throws off your whole sleep cycle. So those people have to wear a little mask at night and blows oxygen up their nose. And so. Yes. Yeah. Ah, that'd make you paranoid. Yep. Mothers do have different ears than fathers do. I can attest to this. It's weird. I think it's seriously programmed into you when you have a baby. Is somehow you can hear that baby, like even from a long ways away. And I didn't. It was my child too, but I didn't have the child. So I swear that must be it because I couldn't ever hear that kid at night. Maybe I'm just more of a sound sleeper, but I hear that from moms all the time. They can hear that baby even from, like you said, like 2 stories down, and you can hear the baby even a million miles away. Somehow you just tuned into hearing that baby cry. Okay, so anyway, back to, if I'm going to drop this into the x spot there, I'm going to say f of x is equal to 2 empty spot minus 4. All I'm going to do is make an empty spot, and I'm going to drop in something. I'm going to drop in that, x plus 7. Now, 7 was kind of sloppy. Now I'm going to write it out, 2x plus 14 minus 4, and that's 2x, and then the 14 and the minus 4 make plus 10. And then I figured out what f of x plus 7 was. But is that all I wanted? No, I wanted 5 plus f of x plus 7. And f of x plus 7 I now have figured out is that. So I want 5 plus all of that. 5 plus 2x plus 10. So then I can add the 5 and the 10 together, makes 2x plus 15. How many of you got the 2x plus 10 part? Good. How many of you got it all right? Less people, but still a lot of people. Okay, good. All right. That's one of the hardest parts to today's. There's one more like that. Just try to fire it off quick if you understand it. It won't take you long. Mr. B. Paper. Or iPad. iPad's fine. Okay, so instead of the x, I'm going to 3 empty spot plus 5. And I'm going to drop in x plus 2 because that's what it says to put in. So it's 3x plus 6 plus 5, 3x plus 11. Raise your hand if you have that. Awesome. Now, is that the answer? No. I want that, and I want 9 added to it. So really all I have to do is add a 9 at the end. Final answer is 3x plus 20. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. I think you get that. Now, we've been doing transformations, and basically that just moves the graph. Moves it up or down or left or right. Okay? And this is just a normal line. Even a straight line can be moved. Assume the black one's the parent one. Do you get that that red one has been moved up? Okay, and went up however many spots that is. And this looks like it's saying it's 6. So it just moved up 6. All right, moving on. This is, the main thing here is that what's inside here is going to go left, right. So this is a left, right thing. And since it says minus, which way do you go? Right. I know minus seems like it should be left, but the stuff in here is the opposite of what you'd expect. It's counterintuitive. The stuff on the outside you can trust. And that's up or down, and in this case, since it says plus, it would be what? Move up. All right. Good. Now, here is a parabola. And here is the parabola moved which way? Is it right to or left to? Right. Because it seems like it should be left. Remember, stuff on the inside is the opposite of what it should be. So it should be right. All right. What would this one do? Right 4. What's that one? All right, good. So this one, It's just some adding ones, which was left, 2, etc. That's too easy for you. All right, what happens if you subtract? It goes to the right. What happens if they add? We go to the left. All right. Now this one's on the outside. No. Down 2. It's the opposite on the inside, but this is on the outside. So it's what you would expect. And I expect when I see -2 that it's down 2, and it is down 2. And this would be down 4, and this would be down 7. So every single point in the graph just moves down. All right. Yeah, good enough on that. So this one is the square root function. Do you remember that that goes through here and here? They almost all go through 1, 1, by the way. I don't know if you ever noticed that. See the parabola? Goes through 1, 1. See the line? Goes through 1, 1. See the square root symbol thingy? Goes through 1, 1. Really popular spot. Yep, this one's the one with side parabolas. Yep. So I'm not done yet here. I'll go over 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 2, and then over 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and up 3. So I was kind of tailing off a little too fast. There we go. There's my main spots. Okay, so there's my square root graph, and yes, it's like a parabola that's been buried in the sand, and the other part would be down here, but you can't see it. All right. So this one would just mean it moved which way? Right 3, how about that one? Left 3, how about that one? Down 3 and that one? Up 3, good. All right, same idea, except this one's a what shape? A V shape. V shape. And it's been moved right 3, left 3, what's that one? Down 3 and up 3, okay, good enough. So, if you're on the inside, yeah, we've already done these enough, I don't want to confuse you. All right, so this is the official way to say it. You know how y equals mx plus b was an official way to write that type of an equation? This is the official way to do this one. And they usually use h and k. I can't explain why, they just pick those variables. Okay, so h is the left-right stuff, and what's the k? The up-down stuff. Okay? And then if it's a square root, again, the h is on the inside, the k is on the outside. And if it's an absolute value, it's h and k. All right. So, inside versus outside, the main thing here is, if I look at this, I can say, oh, that's an inside thing, that's left-right. So is it left 5 or right 5? Left 5. And how about this one here? So can you do both things? Yes, but not at the same time. If you're picking, go work from the inside out. That generally works in math. Start on the inside and do that first. Does it really matter? No. In this case, it doesn't. But in math, order does matter. So I'm just giving you good advice. In the long run, do stuff on the inside first and move to the outside later. Okay, so I take the whole parabola and move it left 5, and then I would move it down 1. So my big parabola is, say, here. I go left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down 1. Okay. This one, it's got 2 things happening. It's a square root. Would you just sketch for me quick? Doesn't have to be perfect. Just generally, where would this thing be? Like, is it like here? Give me a quick sketch of where that square root puppy is going to be. The skier in the PJs hasn't written anything yet. Hurry up. Have you already done it and I just didn't notice it? All right, Lion's Den, tell me what to do. And then, right 1, up 4. Raise your hand if you guys put yours there, approximately. Okay, good? And you get the idea. Now, how about the domain and range? All right, domain is this way to this way. Range is this way to this way. So the domain on this, how far this way can I go? Careful now. 1. You see, this is the farthest this way that I go, right there. And that's at 1. Comma, what's the farthest I can go that way? Infinity. 1 to infinity. Can you get to 1? Is 1 going to work in here? Yes, because it's a square root of 1, and that's okay. Can I get to infinity? No. So I put parentheses. So from 1 to infinity that way. Give a shot what you think the range is for my blue function here. One that's described right there. What would the range on that thing be? Look at the picture. It's way easier to look at the picture than it is to look at the equation. To infinity and beyond. So you ask yourself, what's the lowest it goes? The first number of the, something comma something is the lowest it goes. And the lowest it goes is like follow it down and go, oh, stops right there. So it would be the lowest it goes is 4. To what's the highest that it goes? It will go eventually to infinity. Bracket, parentheses. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Vast majority, so we're good. Okay, moving on. Write an equation for this. Well, it's just an equation like y equals absolute value of x, except I got to move it up 4, so what do I do? Put a plus 4 where? Yes. Okay, I think you get the idea. This one, up 5 and left 2. So I go y equals square root of x, and then the up 5 part's like this, and the left 2 part like that, underneath the root. All right, there is one more thing that I know I have to teach you about on this, and that is this kind. If I have a function and I don't know exactly what the function rule is, in other words, I don't know if this is like f of x equals, 2 cosine of theta plus 7, or I have no idea what this is over here, but I know what the picture looks like, and that's all I really need to be able to do this. What's my function plus 3? I take the original one, and then where do I move it? Up 3. So I just grab this, and I go up 1, 2, 3. Done. That's what my function plus 3 is. Okay. What if I wanted to take this and move it over that way 2 spots? Then I could say it was my function, and then how do I go 2 to the right like I just did? So I'd say it's f of x minus 2. Does that look familiar? We just did those a second ago. Remember how you drop in the x minus 2 wherever the x was? So this is how you'd say my function moved to the right 2. All right? So here's one. I want you to tell me, using f of x, I'll go that far and that far. Tell me what I just did using f of x and then using some numbers. What did I just do to that thing? The original was the blue one. Now to me, seeing the whole shape is hard, but if I look at an individual point, it becomes much easier. I'm going to look at this spot right there. You see how that spot moved to there? And all I really need to do is look at that spot and say, oh, the whole thing moved 3 to the right and up 1. So I write f of x, but then I leave some room to show what I did. 3 to the right, up 1. That's it. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. You're following me just fine on this. This assignment's going to be pretty easy for you then. So here's the blue one's the original. In this scenario, the blue's the original, so the purple one has been moved. So write an equation for the transformed purple graph. This is a question right off the test. Just like a test question we're going to have eventually. And your answer has to have f of x in it, and then just some numbers. It says it in the problem. The blue graph is the original. Now, if I were you, I wouldn't look at the whole picture. I would just look at a key point. Like maybe you zoom in on this point and look at what that one did. I personally, for some reason, like the high points. So I like pick that and that. I hear you. I'll help you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then over 1, 2, 3. So, final answer, f of x, and then you leave some room. And how do I do the down 5? Minus 5 where? And then the right 3. F of x minus 3, and then minus 5 on the outside. That make sense? All right. Okay. The rest of the hour is just you making sure you did last night's right, because now you've had a chance to hear about how to do that again. And then finish that worksheet. Same worksheet. Same worksheet you did on Friday. Correct. So if you look at the assignment before, when you did Friday, you want to know where that is, you just go to your class, and then you click on assignments, and that was assigned on the 21st, but it's the same thing. If you go to the 24th here, today, it's the same exact worksheet. They just want you to go farther with it. So it's already done with one. You're already done with 1 through 7, I hope. See you start on number 8 right there. So the very first one, describe the translations of the graph needed to produce that. In other words, tell where it went. This went to which way? Left. Done. That's all you got to do on 2A. So it went 2 to the left. B, it went 7 up, etc. This one's a little harder. Remember, I told you leave an empty spot for the X and drop in whatever they tell you. So drop that into the empty spot. Figure out that answer. Drop this into the empty spot. And then subtract 4 at the end. Etc. Okay. I think that's enough. I'm going to stop recording.